You are watching the Global Gamers Invitational Tournament brought to you by iFixit. SCVs for the real world. The Handsome Nerd attire for the handsomest of nerds. And Esports United, sponsored by Intel. This broadcast is also made possible by IC Cup TV, TeamLiquid.net, and of course, Blizzard Entertainment. Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to the Global Gamers Invitational. This is Mac. I am here with Railcoon, and we at IC Cup are bringing you Game 3 between Sen and his Blue Terran opponent, Strelok. Once again, this tournament is sponsored by iFixit, SCVs for the real world, also the Handsome Nerd attire for the handsomest of nerds, and Esports United, sponsored by Intel, bringing us some Intel processors for the top 3 finalists in this tournament. Game 1 and 2 both going to Sen. Strelok was in a commanding position in the last game, but unfortunately did not quite execute well enough, and Sen got himself back in the game. So here we are on Lost Temple, which is no surprise, a very nice map for Strelok to harass that Zergic natural expansion from the cliffs with Thors, siege tanks, any combination thereof. And I definitely agree with this decision from Strelok, and he really needs a good game to get himself back in it.
Yeah, and he does seem to be favoring those mech-type units so far. And this is a really good map to be using the siege tanks and the Thors on, like you said. Not only because of that cliff, but if you can get a lot of siege tanks into the middle of the map here, the Zerg opponent's going to have to funnel his forces between these little choke points. And if you can hold that watchtower, it'll give them such good vision to utilize their entire range. So I have to completely agree with you. This is a great map choice for what we've seen out of Strelok so far. He does drop that gas, but he did that in the first game where he started to get his gas, and then he went for the command center instead of just going complete marine expansion. So we'll have to see if he does, in fact, go for the same build as the first game, getting the very quick expansion out, or not.
No,
but Sen
Sen
did drop the quip.
I was going to say the same thing. Sen dropping that 14 hatchery, which we're going to be seeing more and more of again, and what looks like a later 14 spawning pool. Now, one more point I do want to mention about this particular map is that they are adjacent air positions. So Strelok, who's really been favoring the Hellion drops, this is a great opportunity to once again exploit that. He's got siege tanks and Thors from the cliff, and then he's got the very, very easily accessed back end of the base for Sen. So Sen's going to be really on the defensive here, but if he can once again hold it together, he'll be in great shape.
Yeah, and this Overlord is caught by the Marine, but he will be able to just slowly scoot up onto the high ground there and then fly away. So good job by Sen, not quite flying off to the side like you see, but he wanted to get a good look at the number of gas that Strelok had is the reason why I assume that he sent his Overlord down that direction. But Strelok's floating his barracks up there to try and catch it with the Marines. He's really going after this Overlord, and the barracks is slightly faster, so he will be able to kill the Overlord here. And killing an Overlord this early in the game, it is a pretty big hit to the Zerg player. So you can see Sen thought his Overlord was safe, wasn't worrying too much about it. And there we go, Strelok kills it anyway. But that will be a pretty good indicator of saying, hey, I'm going mech again because I lifted off my barracks.
Oh, without a doubt, he has telegraphed that in no clearer fashion that Hellions are on the way. So sure, Sen is behind 100 minerals, delayed in time because he's short that Overlord, but he knows perfectly well what's coming. And it looks like we're getting another fast expansion from Strelok.
And look at Sen dropping that creep tumor instead of the next inject pretty early. He's just going to connect the two bases, and given what he's seen the last 2 games in combination with that floated barracks, that's a great decision. You'll see a lot of Zerg players cut that injection anyway, so he's not really losing a whole lot to drop the creep tumor there, and it's going to benefit him really well, and just be able to position his forces around his own base that much faster against what he's got to be assuming is going to be another pre-igniter drop.
Yeah, we do see pre-igniter being made by Strelok right now, so like you said, this is almost certainly going to be another pre-igniter drop. And I totally agree with this, connecting with the creep tumors coming out really fast. He's got the single spine crawler in defense at his natural. He doesn't have much internal defense, and with that fast lair, the fast lair tech on the way for Sen, he is going to be very vulnerable temporarily to those Infernal Hellions. So it'll really be on Strelok to do some serious damage here. He's not opting for Thors or tanks. So he isn't going to be able to exploit that naturally. He's really going for this. And a Spine Crawler going down inside Sen's base. I don't think he even scouted this, but clearly he's seeing a pattern.
Yeah, but Strelok has not dropped a starport yet, so he might just be running these Hellions in the old-fashioned way through the front to take Sen a little bit off guard. And there we go, he's dropping 2 more barracks, putting Tech Lab onto the first one. So he's switching this up a bit. Reigniter Hellions are going to try and just run their way into the front. They do see that Spine Crawler in a good position. And Sen's Queen immediately moves to the ramp to block that off. So he's still in a good spot to block this. This Creep Tumor right here in the high ground gives him great vision of these Hellions. So he'll know the instant that those move. So Sen's looking like he's prepared against this decently well. I do like the fact that he did cover his front entrance instead of just dedicating everything to the back, which you might see some players do after getting dropped 2 games in a row.
You see, Sen is getting ready. He's throwing down Overlords at his perimeter. He got that one by the Reeds. And putting the creep down on those extremities is really nice. Lets your Zerglings close in on Hellion drops much faster, so I do like to see that. I'm surprised there aren't a few more in the actual likely Hellion drop locations. But certainly neither player in any position to be aggressive until that Spire comes out. So it's really going to come down now to Strelok defending with Thors and Marines against a Mutalisk harass, because he just was not able to harass at all. So Strelok definitely going to be on the defensive for a while.
Yeah, and he actually caught those Hellions with some Speedlings in the middle of the map. There's just 1 Hellion left running for dear life. It's only got 2 hits on it left, though, but it will get away. Losing those Hellions in the middle of the map right there was a pretty decent blow there. He didn't kill a whole lot of Zerglings in return, so it was nice there by Sen to catch those. Strelok's actually pushing out right now. And with the Mutalisks about to come in, this could be a little bit of tricky timing here. Because if Sen can somehow try and hold this off with just his ground forces and continue to harass the main, it's not going to work out very well. But it doesn't look like Sen has enough ground forces. He's probably going to have to pull back with the Mutas to hold this off.
And a great scan there, just in time to see the Spine Crawler. He might be able to get this before the scan expires. Oh, he doesn't. He does not get it in time. The Spine Crawler's almost down, and it's now picking away at those Marines and now Siege Tanks. So Strelok forced to retreat, and there's a ton of Mutalisks loose, now sniping a medevac, and he does have a ton of Marines. They have been stimming, though, and they're very weak, so it looks like Strelok forced to out-and-out retreat.
Yeah, and those Mutas did their work. They caught a couple of Marines that were just right-clicked to reinforce, so they did not attack back. He got free medevac. And a couple other units with those Mutalisks, so good job there just to weaken that force enough, and killing the medevac meant that all those Marines weren't able to get healed up, which is probably the biggest factor on why he was forced to run away, because all those half-health Marines just were not going to be very effective. Now he's doing one of the best things you can do with Mutalisks when he has towers up, just kill every single stray building, so that he either loses a bunch of supply depots, or he has to build like 5 more missile turrets.
Yeah, and a commanding lead for Sen. He's 102 over 85 supply. Worker differential, he is ahead, which is what you want as Zerg and don't want as Terran. And with that huge roving band of Mutalisks, I'm very surprised we have not seen an armory yet. Instead, it's just pure Marine. So Strelok very vulnerable, losing some tanks now to the harass, stimming those Marines, trying to catch the Mutalisks. But again, no Thors with ridiculous range, so not many Mutalisks going down. Some more nice harass from Sen.
Yeah, and with these mutas and the amount of damage he's doing with it, and the fact that I'm pretty sure he has scouted out the fact that there is no armory, he's very confident in the fact that Strelok's making a ton of Marines, and Baneling Nest with the speed upgrade is on the way, so he's going to have a lot of Banelings in a little bit with speed, going to be able to completely clear out the Marines if he controls it well, and that's going to spell a lot of trouble for Strelok. Sen has enough mutas to fly in and take down one of those missile turrets, which might be enough to start making Strelok have to drop additional turrets. There we go. He's dropping those extra turrets. Going to be more minerals invested in static defense. That's exactly what you want to force your opponent to do with these Mutalisk harassments.
And more dangerously, more Mutalisks continue to be being produced. So there are currently 20 Mutalisks on the field right now, and that's the biggest danger at all. Even silver players can sympathize with this. Too many Mutalisks, there's just no counter. You got nothing to build except for Thor's, and we're still not seeing an armory. Oh, I take it back. There it is. Armory on the way. Finally going to get some Thors to try and deal with this, because that is a ton of Mutalisks.
Yeah, and this might be too late. Baneling speed is almost done. Once that finishes, we should see a lot of Banelings on the way. There's a good amount to begin with. He has a lot more Zerglings he could potentially morph here. And, oh man, Strelok's moving out. It's going to make this so much easier for Sen. Mutalisk's flying down and taking down 3 towers. Just, like, does not care. There's so many Mutalisks. And the Marines are just walking straight into the Banelings here. It's going to depend completely on the control on Strelok's end to make sure he does not lose every single Marine here.
Strelok,
if he does,
he's left himself so exposed. The Mutalisks could just ravage his base, but there are too many Mutalisks on the field compared to other units. There's no other defenses. So Strelok is right to push here. It's a huge gamble, but if he fails, it's pretty much game over. So Strelok making a huge gamble. See these tanks in position. The Zerglings are engaging. The Banelings catch mostly tanks, not the Marines. The Marines have survived. They're engaging with that medevac support on the Mutalisk count. Will they be able to bring them down? Looks like the Mutalisks are pulling out the tanks, unsieging to advance. And Strelok actually moving into his opponent's base, trying to focus on that spine crawler. He does get it this time, and he's inside the natural of Sen. Already 4 Zerg bases on the map, so this is a huge attack, a chance to put Strelok back in the game, getting Overlords, getting Mutalisks. Banelings now engaging, they're killed by the tanks. Beautiful, beautiful time by Strelok. He's actually back in this game, if not in the lead. We have streaming across the map more Marines, more tanks, and his force is still intact. The Zerg army completely devastated. He only has 5 Mutalisks, and whatever Zerglings pop, the drones forced to come off the line, and I think they are going to get these tanks.
Yeah,
and
that
the
was
Marines.
Excellent control by Strelok. He did sacrifice a good number of Marines, but he got a lot of them away from those Banelings, and he did a bunch of damage. You were talking about how there were just so many Mutalisks on the field. There's only 4 now, and those are all new Mutalisks. So he's done a ton of damage, wasting a couple of Marines, but he killed a lot of drones there, took out that overwhelming number of Mutalisks. He's going to be able to switch into some other tech path. Sen is frantically making Banelings just to try and stay in this, because he does realize that if Strelok gathers up another big follow-up attack force, he's going to be in a lot of danger. So the Banelings are a really good unit just to buy some time and let these 4 bases that you were talking about start to kick in and let his economic advantage come back into play.
And like you said, Strelok really needs to follow up right away, because there are 4 Zerg bases he's playing off of 2, and certainly Terran, more than anyone else, can get away with playing off a few bases against many, but he's just going to get overwhelmed very soon. He created a window of opportunity here, and he's not following up, because unfortunately he can't rebuild. He's actually outnumbered in terms of army already and behind by 10 workers, so he's